I do have another question when it comes to the game mechanics, because it was mentioned before, and I just want to get some clarification. The modular terrain itself. Now this is something unique, and leave it to engineers to take, like, because I mean with HeroScape, the terrain was revolutionary because I mean it was already colorized. You could just build and play. But you're right about the thing when it says, it's got the way to connect it, which is it's a strength, but it's also a weakness because it can break apart, and that has happened for us HeroScapers over the years. But I mean, not only do you guys have this terrain where it can build, fall apart, and build it back together, but I think you were also mentioning the fact that it also can be used in the game, so it can be destroyed while you're playing the game, correct? How does that work? Yep. I mean, does that affect, like, can that injure you? Does that build your strength? I mean, what does that do in the game?
There's three ways that you three, four, something around there. I'll go through them. But as far as how you can change the landscape, one, like I said, was mining. So you have these nodes, these kind of, however you build the board in the beginning, it's like, oh, I have this big mine over here, and you're picking it up and slowly, flattening the board. The second way is when you're building roads. So you're building onto the board. So when you're building roads, you're taking hexes and placing them back on the road. So all of a sudden you're changing the terrain a little bit more. The third way is through character mechanics. So the sentience sphere, our first one, wherever he lands, it flattens it. And if you have a bridge and there's space under it, space above it, you can decide, okay, I'm going to put fear on this bridge. Or you could say, nope, fear's going under the bridge. And we have mechanics of, you got to disassemble the bridge and take it all apart and move the characters around. We do have mechanics or, rules and explanations on how all that works. We'll go more into like how falling damage and things can happen with those mechanics, and then there's certain characters that as they move around they can flatten terrain too. So this
and eat terrain, don't forget,
and eat terrain. Yeah, there's so it's there's a couple different ways that it's built in, and it's something over time, as we get more feedback from the community and as we find out more, like, we can introduce more and more ways for you to have fun with it. Because one last thing I'll add is, like, for instance, like the material that you can mine, it's like, okay, we can build roads and we can build walls with it for now. Doesn't mean that that same mechanic can't be made for building or destroying something in the future as well.
Yeah, and from a design point of view, what enables this is, of course, the non-interlocking edges of the pieces, but also they were built in such a way that you can disassemble and assemble them with one hand. You don't even need both hands to do it. So the idea is, like, if you're going to be destroying the map while you're playing, it can't be super disruptive to how the game plays. So how do you go ahead and
I'm just bringing it up on the big screen here.
It's also it's also super simple to just go ahead and, if you wanted to, take a mini and just smash something for fun. One of the ways you enable this is there's an interlock mechanism beneath these giant multi-hexes. A lot of people were trying to wrap their heads around how physically it was possible that things were, underpasses and overpasses. Nick, if you have a pentadeck and you could show the underside of it, that'd be great. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. So these sort of interlocks there not only make it possible for you to sort of build these overpasses, but it makes these multi-hexes really, really sturdy. So you can try and break this thing.
So there's a little bit interlocking, just they're not big teeth, basically, right? Yeah.
They interlock in a way that I wouldn't call it interlock. They logically align.
That's interesting.
Is the best way to put it.
It really, what it does is, you'll see, right? I can easily slot it on and pull it off and on, but I can't turn it. I can't turn it really, and that's what keeps it stable. So we're not able to side it, just very, very little, but pop right off. No effort at all. Like I said, my 2-year-old puts these together and knocks them down and he's been doing it for, he's 4 now, but he started when he was 2 and never had a problem with it. So you can see, I'm just doing this with one hand right now, right? Mm-hmm. Very easy to just throw together, and you plop it on, and that's it. And then Take it off when you need to take it off, no issue whatsoever. And of course, you know, when we're out and we're doing play tests and stuff, we love the element of drama. So we'll take the big boss and we'll be like, and he crushes the terrain. Oh, I think I broke it. But, no, I'm just kidding. But that's like half the fun of like all of a sudden you went from this giant to just a flat board, and this is where he lands now, right? And that's where it's really fun. So if there were people up here, right, and they're standing up here, if it gets knocked down, and Salpy, you correct me if I'm wrong, they might take fall damage if it's high enough, because they all fall down around it, so they could take fall damage. If it's not, then they may just fall into water, or let's say there's magma or whatever you build your board with, whatever biome type you use. Very, very easy. And then these, of course, these slot right together if you need to build large terrain really quick as well, and they go right next to each other to build out your base layer fast as well. And we're going to offer these in 2 sizes. This is our base side right now, which is a 15 hexer.
Wow.
The absolute largest we'll ever go with the tiles is going to be 33. That's the cap, based on what's manufacturable, what's possible. But 33 should be the biggest, I think, tile configuration out there on the market, and it covers quite a lot of space. So yeah, we're going to make sure multi-hexes are available so you can really build out your map super quickly.
Tiles look gorgeous, by the way. They just look. I do a lot of like Dwarven Forge. I had a lot of miniature terrain systems, and just the texture and the detail. It's very simplistic but very eye-catching. Very.
Oh, you guys want to see something really cool?
This is one of my favorites. I just think it looks so real.
Oh, I love it.
Does that have like a metal sheen to it?
Yeah, it does.
Huh.
It's more matte than anything. It's a little hard to tell through a camera. But it's a pretty matte finish. We could gloss them, and certain biomes will probably have gloss. But no, this is more matte than anything. It's just depending how the light hits it.
If you guys want to see something really special, not this one, this one right here. So you'll see we have hexes, right? They are thicker. These can be used as toppers. They can be roads. They're typically material or roads or things that you want to top with. And then you have your liquid tiles, which are much thinner, and they kind of cap to say, okay, this is what I want on the top of it. And this one
you can't build on it.
You can't build on it, correct? Yeah. So you don't have that lip like this one does, but this one is a beautiful koi fish pond that is just like super serene and hybrid.
Bring it closer.
Okay, I'm working.
To see it.
Yeah.
It might not focus automatically. I'm trying to get it to focus.
But I can see the koi fish.
It's a big screen, so I got you.
And then also you have these beautiful look at that detail. These little mushrooms on a forest floor. And that really pops as well. And it's really fun. And my favorite, sorry guys, I'm just really excited.
No, do it, come on.
And I'm just pulling box after box out here. But one of my son's favorite, and the first time he built this, he said, Dad, let's play the floor is lava. And we built this giant map with just grass and gold mines, which we have as well, and lava tiles. And we took 2 miniatures, and he made up his own little game where we had to travel across the board, and we had to gather gold mines and not step in the lava, which is pretty easy, but you'd think, but we go in the lava all the time. But that's just, the amount of how easy it is to take this system and come up with something that's really fun really fast. And it doesn't have to be polished right away. You can work on it. But now for board game creators and people that are like, well, I have to design my own board, and then it's just going to be a piece of cardboard. What if you just had this? And you could say, I want to develop all these games just using this system, and now I don't need to design a new board every time. I can just say, well, I want to get some stickers and print them out myself and slap them right on here and customize them. Or well, maybe Adventure Together offers a really good biome that fits exactly what my game needs, like a frozen tundra or a muddy battlefield or a fantasy highland or a fantasy forest. I think it just really enables the player.
That's a great point you made, Nick. That's another thing. There's going to be templates we're working on releasing for stickers, so you should be able to just stick them in your home printer and print on these already pre-cut, die-cut stickers that'll slap right on top of your hexes. So if you don't want to buy a whole new set, or the biome that you want doesn't exist yet, come up with your own in Photoshop, print it at home, and customize your board.
I'm really glad I asked
another
that question.
thing we haven't really talked about too is I play a really big Pathfinder game, and so I got this giant box of tiles, and I can build whatever world I want to have for them to fight in.
Like I said,
and so
the
that's
thing
like
about
the
modular
coolest
terrain,
thing
you
is
can
you
use
can
it
get
for other things, yeah.
tons and tons of these things, and you can build the biggest map you can imagine. I have a dining room table. I fill it full, and I have them hold on to their character sheets. They're like, you're not putting that on the table. I'm putting tiles on the table. And you're gonna play. And they every single time we're in there for like 6-7 hours, and it's just the whole thing. And that's the thing I love most about it. Is it's not just TimeStrike.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. That's not the only thing we're offering here. Is we're offering you the imagination to play whatever you want on this. It doesn't have to be any game. You can. And I had one. It was one of the most fun moments I had with this stuff. Is I sit them down in front of my nephews. I got 3 nephews that came over, and 2 of them are 10, and one of them's 12. And they immediately just go in the box and start putting every tile they can together. And they were basically just sitting there silent, building this giant world. And then the eldest one looks at me, he's like, we're going to play Dungeons & Dragons. And he made up his own rules. It was not Dungeons & Dragons. And we played. And we made characters for all of us. And we just sat there and we played and played and played. And made one for my wife, one for me. And it was an amazing time. And we just sat there. And the tiles facilitated the whole thing. Their imagination. And that's it.
Heroescapers are, as you guys know, like Heroescape tiles have been used for years for all sorts of different things. I think the difference between us and that is that we officially support it. Not only do we officially support it, but we're going to be building products specifically for those communities to do the things they love to do more easily. So we have a product just for wargamers. If you play BattleTech, if you play 40K, and you want to use Source to play it, we've got a box designed for you to fill out a 60 by 44 wargaming format table. To make it as easy as possible for you and as affordable as possible for you to get the amount of hexes you need to cover that exact amount of space. And so that's kind of the difference with Source. Like, we're aware it's going to be used all sorts of different ways, and we're going to speak directly to and work directly with those communities and those markets to make sure that they can play the games they want to play.
Yeah, the Warhammer stuff's huge.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. And I've had so many friends that have an actual septillion worth of Warhammer models. I think everybody here knows somebody who's way too many Warhammer stuff, and showing them this and just like, here, now you can have a full 3D world you're going to play on for your battlefield.
I'll add,
it's just right there.
I'll add one more thing. So when we were experimenting with what we could do with the tiles, we started kind of doing our own custom, like, grasses and mud and stuff. So Chris is holding up like he did, like, kind of concrete stone, like physical, like 3D. And like, here's an example of me. I use let me turn off my
turn your back.
None. Okay. So
how many tiles
I use static grass on mine. And you can actually, like, just build, like, anything you kind of want right on it.
Hold on.
And the nice part about it is because the tiles stack and there's space underneath it, you can put it right on and it stays safe, and then you can pop it right off and it still stays fine. And I built a whole golf course with sand, with pavement, with putting greens, tee boxes, out of static grass and all custom stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
What makes this so easy to do is that the surface is just raised enough that you could come with sort of a really broad brush and use just the exact same texture or putty you use for basing, wargaming minis, and you can just kind of slather it on top of this. There's absolutely no, it's simple is my point. You can do this very quickly. And then, light dry brush, and you've got yourself a beautiful looking terrain. So yeah, being able to do that with it, it's really achieved by having this slightly raised surface, this lip here, that extrudes from the top of all the hexes that make it just so simple to base this stuff and put whatever kind of terrain you want.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm in a couple D&D campaigns I'm running with that. I use scape terrain sometimes for it, but it's that interlocking. If someone takes a sharp left and I've expected, it's hard to change the wood around. So I'm really excited about just the inherent modularity of you're going to the golf course. Let me put some green tiles over here, and it's exciting stuff. I love the design, and just the aesthetics of it is impeccable.
We had a moment, it was a few years ago. Chris has a really good friend that is an excellent D&D dungeon master. And we went into Anthony's basement, and he brought over a printout of the map, and we said, Like in our heads, we're like, why would we play on this? Like this is from your printer at home. And we said, hold on, just give us 5 minutes. We built the entire map out with the river streaming down it and another continent over here and a continent over here. And he said, oh, that was really easy. That looks really good. And we were like, yeah, it does. And then the other moment was Anthony, just a few months ago, we started working on this Source Golf, which he alluded to, and that name is pending change, but it is a very, very simple dice rolling game. So Tony went home one day, he's like, I wonder if I can recreate Pebble Beach. And he recreated on his giant pool table downstairs the first 9 holes of Pebble Beach, all in one map. And we could actually play the first 9 holes of Pebble Beach exactly the way that you would play it in real life. And we were just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And golf is fun. It's really fun. Everybody that played at Gen Con had a really good time. But that's not where I'm trying to go with my point. My point is, it's so versatile that even something that's a boss battle royale, that's miniature wargaming, can become a dice rolling golf game in a matter of seconds. Couple components. You say, oh, instead of a giant boss, I'm going to put a flag down and I'm going to put my balls down, and now we're going to roll the dice, and it's just so cool. I just want to bring that up.
We'll be talking about, I don't know how you call it now, Source Golf, but we'll be talking about golf in a little bit, because I am interested in that. I heard about that at Gen Con. I'm just like, Heroescape Golf, or what, just golf. Seriously? Wow. So yeah, we will be talking about that in a second. But when it comes to like the game mechanics in this game, it seems to me that you guys just have created something, like I said, unique and expandable. It's almost like, it reminds me of like a RPG style game, but it's still, you're still fighting. You're still, in a battle. If the only length of time that it takes is like almost an hour, even for like a new player to play through, then yeah, that's a relatively short amount of time. So it isn't exactly an RPG, but it has almost that feel if you're collecting things. So that just makes me want to investigate, the rule set and play it even more. So that's fascinating when it comes to that. So yeah, for those of you out there, and I know if you're listening to this podcast on the Audiosphere, because we do have a few listeners via Spotify and such. If you guys are listening to this and want to actually see the trains, go to the Tales of a How YouTube page, and you can see, like, I'll end up segmenting these videos from this podcast as well on the Tales of a How YouTube page, and just check it out, see what they are, and at the very least, there is a link for New Generation, Adventure Together Games. .com, I believe it is their website. There is a link for their website below, so go ahead, check out their website, and the things that we're going to be talking about, some other things too when it comes to Kickstarter and such, that will be on their website. So all the information, their Discord, all their social media, check out their website. There is a link already. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, there is a link already below, so check them out.